instruments of music become common, singing girls are in great number and the use of intoxicants is widespread. By Allah, many people of my ummah will be such that they shall spend the night in merry-making and sensuality and in the daytime become like monkeys and pigs. It will be the consequence of considering the prohibited things permissible, they will be occupied with singing girls. Frequently take intoxicants, devour interest and shall dress in clothes made of silk. Singing and fornication. Singing instigates one to commit fornication. The Holy Prophet said, "Singing is the stepping stone to fornication." 11. Songs are responsible for awakening the latent sensual desires of man, which are soon manifested. It is the same whether one sings a song or merely listens to it. He forgets Allah's and is prepared to commit any kind of indecency. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq says, "And all those wasteful pastimes are haram which make one forgetful of Allah, like songs and playing musical instruments." Yes, music makes one shameless and lacking in self-respect. It also destroys the feeling of love, compassion and mercy, reducing society to a nightmare. Prohibition regarding songs and singing. There is no difference of opinion among the Shia jurists about the illegality of singing. It can be said that there is unanimity upon this point. The writer of the book, titled Mustanad, says, to consider singing and music haram is one of the necessities of faith. That is, if a Muslim says that singing is not haram, then he becomes a kafir. According to the author of Isa, the traditions that state that music and singing is haram are mutawatir very numerous. However, a slight difference of opinion exists as to the meaning and connotation of the word song. The majority of the Mu'tahids believe that any kind of sound, capable of creating a desire for joyful mirth and sensual feelings is a song, and it is haram. Reciting Quran in tune of songs. As we have stated earlier, it is haram to recite Quran in the characteristics of songs. Similarly, it is also haram to recite nawaz, marsiya or azan in this way. It is immaterial whether it is poetry or prose that is being recited. Rather, rendering of the sacred compositions into songs carries double punishments. 1. For the sin of singing songs and the other for causing disrespect to a sacred text. Reciting Quran in a melodious voice. Every melodious sound is not a song. If Quran or Nawa is recited in a pleasant voice without unduly turning it in the throat, it is not haram, rather it is desirable to do so. The Messenger of Allah is reported to have said, "Recite the Quran in a pleasant voice, in the style of Arabs. You are ordered to avoid the transgressors and doers of greater sins. Certainly, such people will appear in the world who will recite the Quran in a singing manner to make the listeners emotional. It is not allowed to go near these people or to call them near you. The hearts of these people have deviated and those who are influenced by them shall also have their hearts deviated." 12. Pleasant voice and singing. While describing the signs of the arrival of the Day of Judgment, the Prophet of Allah said, "Such kind of people will appear in the world that they would learn the Quran for worldly benefits and will recite it in a singing tune." However, there are many traditions to the effect that reciting the Quran in a pleasant voice is must-have recommended. However, we must ensure that its tone is not that of singing. Singing and music during weddings. Subject to the following three conditions, some of the Mu'tahids have allowed women to sing on the occasion of marriages. 1. The first condition is that no grown-up men should be able to hear the singing. Not even those who are mahram under the prohibited degree. 2. Secondly, the songs must not be loud and also must not be based on false statements. 3. And lastly, the singing must not be accompanied with any kind of music. A few scholars have permitted playing of the small tambourine. Tambourine is a drum with skin on only one of its sides. Shahid al-Thani and Muhaqiq al-Thani say the tambourine could be played in a wedding if it does not have tinkles around it. However, precaution is desirable and hence on the occasion of weddings also women should avoid singing. The playing of tambourine should also be avoided. Sheikh al-Ansari quotes Shahid al-Thani in the book. Maqasib bin Sa'id Murtada says in his book Wasila that precaution is the way to salvation. 1. Refer Amali of Sheikh Tusi and also the book Al-Kafi. 2. Al-Kafi. 3. Al-Kafi. 4. Al-Kafi and Mustadrak ul-Wasil. 5. Mustadrak ul-Wasil, Chapter 78. 6. Jamil Akbar. 7. Mustadrak ul-Wasil. 8. Furu al-Kafi. 9. Al-Kafi. 10. Najul Balaga. 11. Mustadrak ul-Wasil. 12. Wasil ul-Shia. The 17th greater sin. Lying. Lying is another sin which is classified among the greater sins. The famous scholar, Sheikh al-Ansari, R.A., writes in his book, Maqasib al-Muharrama. Common sense suggests lying is haram, all the revealed religions also say so, particularly Islam. The Quran is explicit in this regard. The corpus of hadith opinion of the majority of the jurists verifies this. Tenet and reason also sustains this assertion. Lying is listed with the greater sins in the narration of Fazl ibn Shazan from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, A. Lying is one of the greatest sins. A tradition from the Holy Prophet declares, "Beware, I inform you regarding the greatest of the mortal sins. Associating anything with Allah, disobeying parents and lying." 1. A similar tradition has been quoted from Imam al-Hasan al-Askari, A. Also. All the evils have been locked in a room and its key is lying. 2. Angels curse the liars. The Prophet of Islam in another tradition is quoted to have said, "When a believer utters a lie without a valid excuse, he is cursed by 70,000 angels. Such a stench emanates from his heart that it reaches the sky, and because of this single lie Allah writes for him a sin equivalent to that of committing 70 fornications. Such fornications that the least of which is fornication with one's mother." 3. Undoubtedly, lying is the worst of sins. It is obvious that the evils of lying are more dreadful than those of adultery. Some false words lead to war between two tribes or two sections of the society. Some lies blight the honor of thousands of people or endanger their lives, or lead to economic disasters. One kind of falsehood is that which is attributed to Allah SWT, the Holy Prophet or the Holy Imams, A. Understandably, this is the worst kind of falsehood. Often due to lying, innocent people are sent to the gallows and their families destroyed. It is for this very reason that the traditions state, lying is an evil, greater than drinking wine. Quranic verses and ahadith that denounce lying. Allah the Almighty says in Surah An-Nahl, verse 105, "Only they forge the lie who do not believe in Allah's communications, and these are the liars." Surah An-Nahl 16, 105, and in Surah Az-Zumar it is mentioned, "Surely Allah does not guide him aright who is a liar, ungrateful." Surah Az-Zumar 39, 3. It can be understood from the verses of the Quran that a liar calls for divine curse and invites the anger of Allah SWT. For example, "And pray for the curse of Allah on the liars." Surah Ali Imran 3, 61, and also, "The curse of Allah be on him if he is one of the liars." Surah An-Nur 24, 8. A large number of Quranic verses and traditions condemn the sin of lying and describe its evil consequences. The late Haji Nuri has collected these verses and traditions and classified them into 40 points for easy recalling and reference. We shall quote them for the benefit of our readers. 1. Lying is transgression. Allah SWT says in Surah Al-Baqarah, "There shall be no intercourse nor transgression nor quarreling amongst one another during Hajj." Surah Al-Baqarah 2, 197. The word transgression in this ayat refers to falsehood or lying. Again in Surah Al-Hujurat it is mentioned, "O you who believe, if an evildoer comes to you with a report, look carefully into it, lest you harm a people in ignorance, then be sorry for what you have done." Surah Al-Hujurat 49, 6. This ayat was revealed for Walid, who is mentioned as an evildoer, i.e. a liar. 2. Meaning of the term false words. Along with the prohibition of worshipping idols, it is ordered by Allah SWT to abstain from falsehood, therefore avoid the uncleanness of the idols and avoid false words. Surah Hajj 22, 30. In this verse, false words mean lying. 3. The liar is not a believer. One of the verses quoted above demonstrates that a liar is not a believer and one who is a believer never speaks a lie. The verse pronounces, "Only they forge the lie who do not believe in the signs of Allah." Surah An-Nahl 16, LO5. For it is clear that one who disbelieves